Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen of the Alliance for Loki, and this is War number 9, Season 18. So we're fighting against NewN, one of the top 5 teams in this season, and we really need a victory in order to have a legitimate chance of having a finish in the top 3. So I go and scout my first path, and look who I see. So if you saw my last video, you saw how much trouble I had on Morningstar on this very node, and there she is again. And so I'm already very nervous for this war because I did so poorly last time. I go look at my Section 2 fights, they both look okay, and those don't really give me too much concern, but that Morningstar, she definitely does, and so I'm already starting to think about that fight. So of course, this node is the Starburst node, but I check and it's not the Siphon node global this time, which helps a lot. So I bring in my usual team of Emma and Mysterio along with Omega for this fight. As I'm looking at her, I'm thinking, okay, it's rank 2, and then I check the profile and no, it's a rank 3 Morningstar. So my nervousness goes up a level, and so I quickly take a look at her, and wow, she is a very stacked champion. Of course, rank 3s are just that much harder on defense than rank 2s or rank 5 stars. So I go into this fight, I boost my usual boost just like last war, and I'm also going to put on the combat regen boost just to deal with Starburst and the block damage I take. And I'm thinking a lot about my strategy for this fight. I actually do a few duels just to test out my ideas. So usually with Omega Red, you're very concerned about getting the spores up to cause that extra damage. This time I decide not to worry about it. I'm going to start exactly the same. I'm going to bait out the heavy so I can save my parries. But my main goal is just to push her to SP1s and then counterattack those. So just do damage basically. So here I am blocking, and you can see the huge difference Siphon Global makes compared to Control. So I'm only taking 523, and it's almost 3 times as much last fight, and this is a rank 3 as opposed to a rank 2 Morningstar, so a huge difference. Another big difference in this fight is I practice the spacing of evading her heavies. So last time when I did this, evaded her heavies, once I missed and she dexed it, and the second time I went in too late and she parried it. So this time I just go in just a little bit quicker, and then allows me to counterattack it, which is of course a very desirable outcome as opposed to being parried or dexing it. And so now I'm just hitting to her block, I'm trying to push her back against her wall, I managed to get an intercept there, and now the fight's in a much better state, and I'm really not worrying about the spores at all, even though I have 12 up here, and it seems like I am, but I'm not. The more important thing for me is to get her power up to that SP1, which I've accomplished. And so now I'm going to try to bait out the special one and then counterattack that. She throws it very quick, I go in again and just fight her. She's not quite at a bar of power, so again I turtle up trying to bait her heavy. And this is great because we just sort of sit there and look at each other, but meanwhile she's building up spores which are causing a lot of extra damage, and then she does finally come out and start attacking me. So the spores are incredible. I mean 18, I'm doing almost 2,000 points of damage, and I'm in much better shape because I've hardly taken any damage and I still have my regen active as well, and so this fight is going very well. So she's not quite at a special, so I go ahead and push her by hitting to her block, and again get a little bit unexpected intercept there. It's just trying to hit her into her block some. She throws her special and I counterattack it. Now here ahead I go ahead and throw my SP2. So the whole point of this war or this fight is just to do damage. I'm not really waiting for anything, not trying to be strategic in spores, just trying to do damage. And the SP2 does a lot of damage, just a lot of hits, does good damage, and the best part is it pushes her to another SP2, so I immediately counteract that. And this time we're at the standoff. I'm a little bit farther away so I don't build up the spores, but I'm not at all worried. Again, this fight has nothing to do really with the spores. It's just an extra benefit. It's just all about SP1 and counterattacking. So again, I hold off on my combos just in case she has Mystic Dispersion, and I make sure she stays at the SP1. Last time I pushed her to the SP2, and it's a very nice routine now. She's against the wall, and things are working very well. And do my last counterattack, and my little bit of spore damage kills her. And so a great fight, and such a huge difference from last time. You can see sort of the final statistics aren't that much different. I mean, one, I took the 5-hit combo, which was, of course, a big mistake. But as far as the total number of hits is about the same, but the damage from both the Siphon and, of course, getting hit was so much bigger in the last war. And so I'm really happy about this performance. It's nice to be able to have a chance to redo a fight and just be much more successful at it. And you can see the difference. I mean, a fully alive Omega compared to a nearly dead Omega is the difference. And so that went very well. And so, of course, very happy, very proud of myself. It's good to learn. And that's the most important thing in your war career, is to learn from your mistakes. So now these next two fights, this is Dr. Voodoo. I'm going to go against him with Mysterio. He is a control champion, so I do throw on an invulnerability boost just in case he gets an SP3. And it's amazing how the invulnerability boost makes me feel invulnerable. So I really don't play too careful against him in his power control, knowing that I can tank up to 3 special 3s. So I'm just trying to play reasonable. You know, I'd rather bait his SP1 out because that's a little easier for me to dex. And then if he gets to an SP2, I've already decided I'm going to block it as opposed to dex it. It's just, again, it's one of these things where I feel like I'd rather take a little bit of extra block damage as opposed to missing it and getting hit by it. And so far all is going very well. He does have Mystic Dispersion. You can see that his bar power did pop up. But again, with the invulnerability boost, I'm really not worried about it at all. So I'm actually playing, I would say, a little bit reckless, just because I'm not worried about pushing him to that. So those great boosts can make such a big difference in a fight that they really can turn sort of the strategy into a much different type of fight. So here I get my SP3, and so of course it's always sort of the beginning and the end of the fight when you get that. It does a lot of damage itself and puts you in this frenzy mode, which means your hits do remarkably more damage also. And so I finished the fight. And so I did take a lot of damage just because I blocked several SP2s, you know, almost more than 30%. But again, it was worth it. Everything felt under control. And it was interesting playing that aggressive style. He actually never got to an SP3, and so probably was lucky, but I had the invulnerability boost to rely on in case he did. So my final fight of this war is Emma Frost versus Nick Fury. I've done this fight a few times, and I sort of have the same strategy to try to, of course, push him to his second life, and then at his second life, make sure he's at an SP2 because that's so much easier to dodge. And so this is straightforward. You know, I can parry him. It's not a control node, or he's not a control character, so I don't have to worry about extra power gain. You know, I'd rather not deal with his SP1, so, you know, I just hold my block, and then I bait that out, so it's much easier to dodge. And then again, I have a bunch of prowess charges, so I'm hoping to do a lot of damage with them, and neither of them crits, so I do pretty good damage, but of course one crit would have been so nice. Don't know why there's a little bit of lag there, but I think it's just the video and not actually the gameplay. So he's at his SP2, so I really want to get him to his second life because then I can just dex this. I'm trying to be really careful about not pushing to his SP2, and then it just got too close. Actually, I think I took too big a chance. And so I do push him to his second life, and luckily I'm actually pretty close to an SP2, so I can just hold my block as long as he doesn't decide to just throw his SP1, which he doesn't. And then I move in. I actually have an SP2 ready, but I decided to wait just to let his second life you know, eat his health, getting down to 30%, and then I have my SP2 ready. So it's like one of those decisions I'm really happy about. Huge special 2, tons of damage, and that's the end of this fight. So that fight went incredibly well. And so I'm very happy with it. You know, of course, I've been playing Path 9 so much, I've gotten used to Emma and Mysterio, so I feel like I really understand how to play them now, which is, of course, always a big advantage in war. So that's my last fights. Unfortunately, we did lose. We did not have a very good war. We definitely suffered a lot of deaths, which happens. I mean, it's hard to just play, you know, 12 wars in a season, you know, 30 people all playing perfectly. So hats off to New Nation. They're a really great alliance, really strong this season, and they have a good chance now of being top 3. For us, we'll see. We, of course, have to win our last 3 wars if we want any hope, and we'll sort of know after the next war, too, if there's any chance just based on the leaderboard. But since all the top alliances are facing each other all the time, there is more of a chance that we could manage to still be top 3. So I hope you enjoyed this war video, and I will see you next war. Take care. Bye-bye.